Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to another week of racing here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. Quick turnaround. We were just here last night here on this Sunday night program, and back with me is my Hall of Fame co-host, Randy Waples. Last night went a little bit longer than maybe we've been accustomed to over the last couple of Sundays. I remember getting home, and I said, Jesus, it's a little later than I was accustomed to the first couple of go-arounds, that's for sure.
Yeah, I noticed when I was driving by the subway that I've been hitting Sunday nights there. It wasn't open.
Mm-hmm.
It was already closed, so that was disappointing. Yeah, but the racing was okay.
Mm-hmm. The racing was okay, headlined by that the open trot. Obviously, that was a good effort. We'll get to that momentarily, but otherwise, just pretty good. Again, just getting used to the thick of things. Having to come in 4 consecutive nights. But after today, we get 3 nights off to kind of recharge the batteries, which is nice.
Yeah, no, it is nice. And, touch wood, touch Randy's head. Hopefully the weather stays good, too, because we got really nice weather. But I've seen something on the news there that scared me a little bit. Did you see something about we're supposed to be getting some heavy snow in the next couple of weeks?
As bad as it sounds, I've had no time to even turn on the news whatsoever. But don't give me that kind of bad news, because that's not something I want to hear.
I think that we're supposed to be getting a bit of a dump here in the next few days. So right now, the track, I was just out on it. The track is dry, the whole deal. So we're in for some good racing, and keep your fingers crossed as long as it lasts. Wintertime racing's tough, man.
It is tough.
It is, because the track gets icy and wet. Then, you know what I mean? Then they get the snow mixed into, and it's just, you got to, it's almost like you got to pick and choose which days are going to be good through the winter. So until we, get into that winter sort of thing, I just keep the fingers crossed and thank every day that we race on a dry track.
I hate snow.
Yeah.
I do not like snow whatsoever. I know some people like it for the holiday season. It looks good. I mean, for Christmas time, sure.
Looks good on a movie.
Yeah, it looks good on a movie, but I want no part of snow whatsoever. But you mentioned last night, though, we did have some good racing, but the one race in particular, it was a race that we were all excited to see, the open trot. Logan Park back in action off that great third-place effort in the FanDuel Open Trot. We all expected, or the majority of us expected, that he was going to get the job done, and he was third in this contest. It was, I believe he was second or third, I can't remember, but it was a safe conduct, going gate to wire in that effort, to playing the role of spoiler.
Chris knew exactly where he was going as soon as he left the gate, right? I mean, he went to there, and I mean, it looked like that going to the half, Jody was going to try to make a remove with What About Elmo. Chris was having nothing to do with it. He was chopping tonight, and, he knew what he was doing. I thought at this point maybe Dougie might drive Jody's horse on, but that's not really the way it happened. It's just Logan Park kept coming forward, but Greek's horse just never gave him the opportunity to catch him.
No, and I was talking to Chris afterwards, just saying nice win. I mean, his trotter was obviously sharp, and he just said it's kind of tough to start and stop safe conduct. Like once you commit to leaving, you got to go full pledge, right? So it was a really good effort by him. And look, he has a couple of really nice trotters that are have done some pretty good things here. As they become age horses. Obviously, Spartan General, we know what he's done when he's gotten sharp. He was sharp last night, but obviously safe conduct. He's one that's going to be a staple here in this open trot division for I think the coming years.
I agree. And safe conduct, wasn't he the one that won the super final?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
So, I mean, he's always showed the talent, always had that ability, made his way up to the top class, and it looks like Chris is going to, camp out there for a while. Logan Park, I mean, did you hear anything? Is he going to keep going, or is this going to be a shutdown soon with him? Because, you would have to think at some point they're going to have to maybe shut him down and get him ready for stake season.
I think there might be 1 or 2 more starts left for this year, and then they're going to shut him down. I got a chance to speak with Rob Fellows last night. He said maybe 1 or 2 more starts, and that's it. Again, it's been a long season for him.
It has, and it's unfortunate in a way, because right now the horse is absolutely killer good.
All right, there's a look at last night's action, but we're going to take a look back at last week's action as a whole in terms of some standings from the driver and trainer side. I have a feeling we're going to see James and Jody up on top on this list because they both had pretty good.
Yeah,
they had pretty good weeks. Jody with 9 wins, leading the way there, but James McDonald also with 8 wins, and Louis Waugh and Doug McNair rounding out this top 4. All 4 having really strong weeks, though.
Yeah, for sure.
All 4 having a strong week, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. No, they're no grass growing on with those ones there, and all doing a really, really good job too out there. Like every one of them, when the opportunities were there for all 4 of them, they took advantage of it. So really, really good week of driving for all 4 of them.
How about that win percentage for Louis though? 36.8%. That's pretty. It's pretty
tough
good
to do all year.
Yeah, big time. And all right, so there's a look at the driver standings, and let's take a look at the trainer standings here. Justin Turcotte leading the way with 4 wins. His barn's been razor sharp. You mentioned it last night, though. Just kind of been under the radar this year. You know, he's had a little bit of everything. Young horses, older horses, all of which have been competing at a high level all year.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the new ones that has come into his barn, you know, he's done well with. Some of them, you know, not so well. But, you know, he's a hard worker. You know what I mean? So I just think that he's young and he's a hard worker. I just think each year he's going to add a little bit more to his stable.
And Camilla Christopher, we see her on that list with a couple of wins. And Ben Bearjean and Kyle Fellows also rounding out this list. And Camilla's got a couple of live ones too tonight, right? I think one of her wins last week came courtesy of Fateful, a filly that we're going to see compete yet again tonight. And Chris was very complimentary of Camilla, the job that Camilla did, because she was a really tricky filly. She showed so many breaks, and she's been able to stay at it. So Chris, praising Camilla for the job that she's done, just to have that filly staying at it and showing interest all throughout the entire mile.
No, I'll take it one further there. I praise Camilla there just for putting up with Chris.
Yep, I wasn't going to go there. But
you weren't going to go there. I see the big smile on your face, though. You don't mind laughing about it, though, eh?
No, don't mind laughing about it one bit. But I'm excited for the card tonight, though. I know a little bit tricky. I think some of these races are very, very tricky, though, Randy, and I'm curious to dig right in. I'm excited to dig right into the action, because I really do think some of these races, if you can land on one and have a confidence in some of these races, all the power to you, because as we open things up here tonight, I do find this opener to be fairly tricky. We're going to be scratched down to a field of 9 here in this contest. That might help a couple of the outside horses as well, and one of which you went to last week, that being Shampoo Girl. You went to a couple of Rick Zeron trainees. I'm curious to hear if you 8-horse field. There's a couple of scratches. See, I'm bad at math today. Yeah,
6 and 7 are out.
Shampoo Girl, the one that you went to last week, Randy. I'm curious to see or hear if you went back in that direction tonight.
I did.
Okay.
Yes, I did. We're going to send a replay in on her. I don't know really how much the replay is going to show us, but before we do show that, though, so November the 3rd, she raced here, and then November the 17th is going to be first start Lasix for her, and that's a 14-day rotation. So she didn't come into this race at her absolute peak of fitness, okay? But where I'm taking from this race, first start Lasix, is that last half, and especially the last quarter. You show me anywhere down there where she trotted the last quarter in 28-3, and that's with the third quarter in 28-3. Anytime she's gone a steep, any kind of a steep third quarter, she's paid for it on the end of it. But this time, first start Lasix, she trots home in 28 and change. You know, I'm not going to say she makes up a ton of ground, but I'm not going to say she loses any ground either. I think it was a good effort. Now, there is 2 scratches in here. John was telling you the 6 and the 7 are out. That takes her from the 9 hole down into the 7 hole. I had her on top of the 9 hole. This is just, this is just the icing on the cake for me with these 2 scratches in here. You know, so Shampoo Girl. Let's take a look at Shampoo Girl, November the 17th from the 7 hole, and like I said, coming in here with a 2-week rotation. You can see Todd way at the back here with the blue and white hood from the Rick Zeron stable, and here she goes. So a couple of things that I take from these races when they come on to Lasix is I want to know if they're finishing their miles stronger than they were before, and I also want to know how they're trotting, because Lasix, it doesn't just mean that they're going to stop bleeding. It helps them in other ways too. It makes them more solid. It makes them more comfortable with themselves, confident in themselves, because they don't bleed, you know. So I wanted to see, and she's trotting fantastic. Like I said, she didn't make up a ton of ground, but she made up ground, and she trots right through to the wire. I think that second start Lasix with this girl coming out of the 7 hole, and in a field where I don't see anybody that's a real clear-cut winner, I'm going to take a chance with a horse that, even though she's only got the 1 win, it was a pretty good one, because it was in 55, and you and I both remember when Ricky first come out with her, he was very high on this girl.
Yeah, she had 1 start towards the end of her 2-year-old campaign, got the job done from an outside draw, and then shut her down for her sophomore campaign. Again, maybe hasn't worked out as well as maybe Rick expected, because he was expecting some pretty good things, but as you mentioned, that was a solid effort last time out, and I think she can definitely take a step forward here. I didn't include her here, though. I think the post for me was a little bit tricky. I lean towards the middle of the gate, because I do think Trudy Bird is one that I'm going to take a shot with here, exiting a couple of Harvest Series tries. Ivy Lynn, though, she's the current 2-1 favorite. This is a good spot for maybe to bounce back. And the last time we saw James aboard this filly, I believe that she put forth a pretty good effort. So she's going to be reunited with James. I think she's definitely a contender here. We spoke about Greek just moments ago. What do we make of French Vodka? Because from a talent standpoint, I think he's the best horse in this field. But he's coming off a couple of qualifiers, and he's got the 10-hole tonight. I guess he's got the 8-hole now. What do you make of his chances?
I mean, Chris is tough to figure. I mean, I'm going to be the first to say that. He's a tough guy to figure out. If you were playing poker against him there's a lot of times he's going to bluff a hand through you. He's a tough guy to figure. But my opinion, what I think he's going to do is I think he's going to give him an easy one. If the 2 qualifiers were solid, then I could see him maybe rolling him out of there. But the first qualifier was nothing but breaks. Didn't get much of a mile into him there. I mean, it's not even a charted mile. And then in the next start, he's obviously, behaved himself, was a lot better, trotted a mile in 58. I just don't know if 1 mile and 58 would be enough for me to roll on out of there. So, but again, Chris, he makes his own mind up there. You're asking me what I think he'll do. I say he probably takes back.
But if he hears this, you know what he's going to do now.
He's going to roll.
He's going to roll.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're playing along to the guy, everyone watching, maybe use French Vodka on your pick 5 tickets because Greek is stubborn. He'll try. He'll do the opposite just for the sake of doing so. All right, there's our thoughts on race number 1. We're going to move on to race number 4. That's going to kick off that pick 6 sequence. Got a field of 10 here going postward, and we've got more trotting action here. We spoke about Fateful and the job that Camilla and Chris did with this filly when she made her debut for the new connections, or for the new barn, I should say. Again, this is a filly we know has the ability, but she's got post 10 as well. But I think this one has a really good shot despite the the post that she starts with tonight.
Agreed. Not only does she have a good shot there, but this one he goes forward. He's not taking this one back. I don't see it anyway. So let's, but I mean, she has that one qualifier at the end there on October the 24th where she's a winner. So everything starts then. And then she's had 2 starts since then. No problems, no issues, no breaks, no nothing. So, yeah, I say that he can roll her on out of there. But I'm going to throw her in for second. I'm going to look to beat her because she does have the 10-hole. So if you're going to try to beat the favorite, why not take a chance at this one? And where I'm going to go is the horse that seems to be getting beat every week, and sometimes as the favorite, and that's going to be the 6-horse Ultra Miles. But yet, each week, it seems to me like he's getting closer and closer to flashing that speed right on by. And that's the whole thing that I find with him is that he's incredibly fast. And one of these times, he's going to trick himself into a win. And it was almost the last time. So let's take a look at this last replay on Ultra Miles. Had the 2-hole to work with, non-winners of 2 or 20. Same class that he comes back to this time, middle of the gate, and he's got Trevor Henry on front. Now, here again, I understand the way Trevor's racing him this way. He's basically trying to fool him into winning a race. He's trying to keep him covered up as long as he possibly can, and then he's going to use this speed to his ultimate, because for a big horse, he can click into gear fast. Now he's got to back him up. This wasn't a lateral move. This was a back up, and now he's going to start moving him forward here again. Now, he's surrounded by horses, and again, I think that he's going to find, if he'd have been able to sneak his way through there earlier, before he had to back up and start him going forward again, I think he's a winner. I think and here he is on the run out, and I think that sooner or later he's going to find himself in there. And in a field like this, where to me the horse that I have to beat is from the 10-hole and only had a couple of starts in Christopherou's barn where she stayed at it, I think that he's got a good chance in here if he can land right on her back. So Ultra Miles for Randall.
And Trevor's done everything he could to get this guy to the winner's circle. Even Bob, when Bob was sitting aboard him, he did everything possible to get him by. But you see his last few defeats by half a length each time. For me, that gives me an indication that he just doesn't want to go by that last one.
Could be.
I like that Trevor tried a different approach with him a couple of starts ago. He tried to bottom out the field or tried to take them from gate to wire. With this draw, he's the sure speed in this race. Like, we know he's leaving. You have to figure with the draw that he works with, how handy he is, and maybe that's going to be enough to get him to the winner's circle tonight. But they've tried just about everything. He's not the biggest of win candidates, but for me, in this specific field, he's still also a horse that's kind of tough to leave off, I think.
He is very tough.
I'm not saying you have to put a win bet on him per se, because he is going to be a short number, but I don't want to let him beat me in a pick 5 sequence, especially given his draw, especially given the fact that he's inching closer. And some of these other horses, while I do think that they have the chance to get the job done with some good trips, I still like the fact that he's going to be right there. And I think that merits a lot of respect in here.
Yeah, I do too. And the other one thing that I'd go with him, I mean, we're going on about how lightly he likes to win, 1 for 19, 1 for 19, but there's 8 seconds in there as well. And I'm telling you, one of these times, he's going to trick himself into winning. And as he's doing this little, maybe I'm going to win or maybe I'm not, the winner of the whole thing is the owner, breeder, trainer of this horse, Shane Arsenal, because with him playing his little games out there this year, $63,000 put away and still fits non-winners at 2. Well done, Ultra Miles and Shane Arsenal.
I say it all the time. If you put yourself in good spots, eventually those wins are going to come, right? Eventually. So he keeps putting himself in pretty good spots. Everybody who sits behind him does exactly that. So one of these days, that second win is going to come.
Were we looking at a horse earlier this year that was the same thing? Never wanted to win, and then all of a sudden it started to win. Just recently, I thought it was.
Yes, and I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Anyway, we'll figure that one out. But there was a horse earlier on in this year, just lately there, that wouldn't win. We always automatic second. Then all of a sudden it started winning. They'll do that sometimes.
I thought Crypto Hanover raced really well last time out. I mean, she was a good second to Shiza Manalishi, who was a dominant winner, even from the 10-hole last time out. So I thought that was a good runner-up finish. And just like you, I think Fateful definitely won. That merits respect. Quickly, where did you put Road Promises? I know you've been high on this filly. Did you factor her in tonight at all?
I didn't factor her in, and I probably should have. Much better post. I really, really do like her. But I'll tell you one that I really also like in here, too, that I think is really starting to show huge improvement is this one horse.
Okay.
She bumped Road Promises for me. Daffy Hanover. I think that Brownie's got her really, really coming along.
Yeah, and that was a good effort. A much improved effort by her last time out. There's a look at race number 4. We're going to move on to race number 5. That closes out that early pick 5 sequence. We've got more trotting action, Randy. This is going to be the Harvest Series final for these 3-year-old trotting fillies. Pretty deep group here, though. I think this is a really competitive race. I'm not sure who's going to go off as the favorite here in this spot, but I think you can see a lot of these fillies are racing well. Some of them, a lot of them, the main contenders rather, they draw well as well. So that's the biggest thing. But you're going to try and find some value in this Harvest Series final, and you're going to go to the 8-horse YS Queen Beth. All right, so you're going to hope that they can mix it up tonight.
That's where I'm going. Going. I was actually really leaning towards Show Me the Green, who I have in for third. Big wheels on the end of it. I'm looking for somebody that's maybe going to be coming hard on the end of it. Travis Henry's been doing a really, really good job this year here on our track. Mark Etzel, I think it's about time that Mark Etzel, as hard as he works and as good a job as he does, he's ready to win a stake final, even if it's the Harvest Series. I'm sure Mark would, love it either way. I think that there's a chance there, and I didn't use Chick Chalk Rose, and I didn't use I Believe in Angels. Now, that could be a really stupid move on my part, but I think that what we're going to get more from those two is speed. I think that they're going to put down some speed. I think there's going to be a lot of speed in this race, and where I think that this is going to work out is for the 8 and the 9 horse. So 8 horse, YS Queen Beth. Let's show the replay on her. She's going to be my beat the favorite in here tonight, and we're going to show the November 10th replay, the very first time that she raced in against the Harvest. She's racing in against Nightingale and Chick Chalk Rose. And Chick Chalk Rose, I think she ends up chopping this mile and ends up finishing third. So let's take a look at this snow-covered YS Queen Beth. Now, that's the only thing that bothers me a little bit, John. The only win that she shows, and the best last quarter, one of the best last quarters that she shows, is on the snow-covered track. And it makes me wonder, does she have, are there a little bit of the foot soreness issues, and she just enjoyed being on this, snowy, soft, cold track? I'm not 100% sure, but she raced really, really good. Now, the other thing makes me wonder, Etzel's a pretty smart customer, and she win the first elimination. He knew that she was going to come back in leg number 2. Maybe he didn't do much with her because she was already going to be in the final with this win. But I thought that this one was a good one. I thought the other horses had a really, really good jump on her, and she just kept coming forward. And on the run out, she's really sailing on by there now. So that's where I'm going. What about you?
I went to the 7, TH Monica. I like the way that this filly's trending into this final. I've always liked this filly. I like the build on her. I like the way that she trots. It's just that she wasn't really able to kind of piece it together consistently as a rookie. I think right now she's coming into her own right now. And the biggest thing for me is that Jody's going to go to TH Monaco over Nightingale, a filly that he's had success with as of late. She's been sharp. I mean, you can look at her last few tries, and he's done a lot of driving for Susie Kerwood as well. So I think the fact that he's going to TH Monaco for me is like I'm letting the driver do a bit of the handicapping, while knowing that this filly has been racing really, really well. But you mentioned Show me the green. I went to her last time out. I wish she didn't draw the 9 hole tonight because that's why I've got her in for second. I really, really do like the way this filly raced last week. I think the outside draw could be a little bit tough, but you mentioned I Believe in Angels. You mentioned Chick Chalk Rose, a pair of Dave Maneri trainees who we know have the ability to get the job done. Just didn't like the way that I Believe in Angels was trotting last time out. It looked like she wanted to switch to the pace a couple of times.
Yeah, she did. And you know, I hate saying this, but I'm just saying, you know, you got to be observant, right? I'm just not 100% sure if Dave's barn is as sharp as it was a few weeks ago. We haven't seen quite the same kind of, you know, numbers coming out of the Maneri camp. Maybe he's not racing as many. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I just don't see him in the winner's circle quite as much. Now, Brew Hanover raced good his first start back, but he's a fresh horse, and he's Brew Hanover. But some of the other ones, you know, maybe there might be a little bit of sickness going through his barn. Who knows, you know? But either way, I'm going to take a chance. And what did you do with the 2 Maneris?
I think I used one of them underneath at least. I can't remember if I used one or both. I don't remember. I just know that I went to TH Monica is going to be a single for me, though. I'm just going to try and find a little bit of a separator here in this Harvest Series final, but I feel like I've got to factor them underneath because they have been so consistent. But again, I Believe in Angels, just tough for me to trust as a win candidate when I know that she'll likely be a bit of a short price. But she's racing well. She gets along with Doug. I just think that she's a filly that needs things her own way to get the job done. And in this Harvest Series finals, I just can't see her getting things her own way here when you've got close to 50,000 on the line.
Yeah, that's the big thing, you know. And you know, it seems like they want to get her out of there and do some chopping that with her. And right now, it just seems like she's kind of a bit of a horse that, you know, you can let her cut the mile, but at some point she's going to come back to you.
And you mentioned Travis Henry and Mark Etzel, that duo already teaming up for a nice stakes win earlier on this year, the Grassroots final with nickel and dime. So they're going to look to do that again here.
Yes.
In the Harvest Series final. And look, this filly's been racing a lot better. I know she's just got 2 wins, but she always shows life on the end of it. And I think you have to be encouraged here with a race that could show lots of speed.
Yeah, that's basically what it boils down to. Is I'm just kind of hoping that he kind of avoids all that speed. She's had a lot of rails to deal with, gets away from the back there. You know, so with the 8 hole, I think he can get away more or less the same spot.
And quickly before we move on, I think Validus is a bit of a wild card, isn't she? I mean, I just didn't love the effort last time out, but she was so good 2 starts back. I don't know what to make of her going into tonight.
Yeah, well, 2 starts ago, I mean, I knew what to make of her then, but that last start there, and I mean, last week it seemed to me like that kind of funky gait was back. 2 starts ago, it wasn't. It was. She was as smooth as can be. So, you know, again, you know, good draw, has potential, but we could make a case for just about everybody in here as for whether they have the potential to get there.
Yeah, Stovid, Pierho, Emerald. I mean, those are 2 fillies that I thought raced well last time out, but I'm not even going to factor them in. Again, just about every single one of these fillies, they're coming into this final off some pretty good efforts. So a competitive way to close out that early pick 5 sequence. We're going to move on to race number 6. That kicks off our late pick 5. I found this race to be tricky because I really wasn't sure what to make of it. I don't have a strong opinion in this race whatsoever. I've backed DA Superglow in consecutive weeks, and both efforts just haven't been very good. Now, you are going to go back to him, which I'm shocked with personally, but there's a method to your madness, and I'm curious to hear it.
Well, okay, what's DA Superglow's problem? Let me put it a different way. What is DA Superglow's talent?
He's got speed.
Okay, what's his problem?
He just puts in brakes or funky gait.
Yeah, but he can also get goofy out there. You know, what 2 starts ago, he ran right out in the middle of the track. You know, he's a bit of a bit randy. So he's getting a bridle change tonight. They're going to go from open to blinkers. And the replay that I elected to show in here, we're going to go all the way back to October the 6th. And since this race on October the 6th, every week they leave with them. Now, here's my thoughts and probably why I don't drive anymore. If I was to pick this drive up, and James is picking him up tonight, and I don't know if he's driven him in the past, but if I was picking him up, I'd sit dead last. Dead last goes this guy, because this guy is loaded with speed. The speed's there. I think all he needs to do is just be comfortable for the first half or the 3/4 of a mile. I'd even sit dead last till the head of the lane. Move him out across the track and then blast him and see what happens. Okay, now Randy Rant's over and done with. Let's take a look at this replay from October the 6th. He had the 4-hole this night in non-winners of 2, which is a lot tougher than what he's going to be facing in here again tonight. Billy Davis driving in here 70-1 on this guy, and you can see Billy on the outside giving him horses to track. That's all I'm looking for. Just give him horses to track. Don't be in front. Don't be first over with him. Give him all kinds of horses to look at. Now he's going to move him here, this deep in the lane, and we're going to see what this guy responds through on the end. And like I said, I think the speed is there. I think that he just needs to have a little bit of confidence put to him. I think the speed can get him around this entire field in here right now. And like I said, this was non-winners of 2. This is not a 20,000 condition claimer in here. So I think that James has picked himself up a really live drive. However James, the world driving champion, decides to race him, so be it. I'm just saying this is the route that I would go, and I guess I'm kind of hoping that maybe he might look at it the same way. One thing that I do notice with James is if he jumps up on a horse that's a little bit tricky, he's very patient with them.
Yeah, and I went back to him last week because I said, you know what, he put in steps off the car on November 10th. I just couldn't factor him in tonight, but that was First Start Lasix, the replay that you showed as well. And again, when he pieces it together, we've seen some good efforts. But when he starts putting in those steps and acts a little bit goofy, it's been mixed. Since that effort the results have been a little bit mixed. But James is going to pick up this drive, and we know he's got the ability to get the job done, as you mentioned. So I'm curious to see what he does off the car. Not James, but maybe a little bit of both. What he does, as well as this 3-year-old gelded son of Dan Sinlu.
And the other thing, too, you got to give big props to the barn he's in.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, we got to start to see a little bit of an improvement here because this is a vicious trainer. Not to say that Mark wasn't doing a great job with him, because obviously he was, Mark McDonnell. But, you know, J.F. McGuire, he's been through a lot of wars.
All right, there's a look at race number 6. That kicks off the late pick 5. We're going to move on to race number 8, and we've got Pacers this time here. We're scratched down to a field of 7. You and I were both really impressed by a particular filly who put forth some very good wheels on the end of it, and that's going to be Woodmere Betcha. Like you, I assume you're going to put her on top here tonight because I was so impressed. I felt like I had to factor in as a main contender here.
Yeah, awesome on the end.
Oh, yeah.
Huh? She ever have some wheels, hey? Really stoked up and good on the end of it. So Gucci Sealster, obviously, I think she's going to be the favorite, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
You know,
think
the way
so.
she's racing right now, I threw her back in for second. Maybe she might beat me. Side Effects, I think, is also a horse that's getting close to winning a race there, so I threw her in for part of it. Cobra Kate is the one that's scaring me, John. This is a big drop down from where she's been racing into this bunch here. She's always got good wheels on the end of it. Just to, win that race first time in 19 starts just recently. So maybe she's starting something here. I'm not sure. But Woodmere Betcha, let's take a look at this one. And Chad was telling us earlier on the equipment changes, they're going to add a Murphy blind on the inside. So if you see her head kind of pointing a little bit, like it is right now, kind of pointing a little bit to the outside of the track, when that Murphy blind goes on the inside, which is the same side as that head pole is going to be on, it's going to force her to basically turn her head. So in a way, it kind of works like a little bit of a head pole. But I mean, she looks good, straight and strong there for me right now. And boy, oh boy, does she ever have some good go. Now JR pulls the cork right here. Here's where he starts to really ask her to go. And here's where she really starts to throw them down. I thought it was a really nice effort that she put in. Billy Davis, good wheels on the inside too. But JR is just pulling away from him right now. And he had an inside pylon skim there too. So Woodmere Betcha, the way I'm going to go.
Completely agree with you there. I mean, this one that I thought raced well, but it was one of maybe a few that recently went into a Dominic Ledoux's barn that I thought raced really well in start number 1. They didn't have the same level of pop in start number 2, so I'm hoping this filly puts forth a little bit of a better showing in start number 2 because I liked Lady Hess that raced second time
Agreed.
out. There was another one too, or maybe one or two more. They just didn't have the same level of zip on the end of their miles that I saw in start number 1. So I'm just hoping that the trend doesn't continue with this starter of Bet the Moon because I loved what I saw just like you. Feel confident going all in on this filly here in this spot. I'm just hoping she can build off that effort because I think if she can build off that effort, I think she's going to find herself in the winner's circle.
I think so too. I agree. I like the way that she raced. And I also, I'm a big fan of the, that mare that she's out of was a pretty decent kind of a horse and Western Ideal on the mare's end. Love it.
All right. So you and I both taking a stand in race number 8. We're going to move on to race number 9. I'm also taking a stand in this race. We're going to be scratched down to a field of 6 here. How good was right here Hanover last time out, right? It was all systems go He went gate to wire in that effort, but I'm going
I
to
had him
opt
on
to
top, I think.
You did have him on
Yeah,
top in
yeah.
that effort. I opted to go to a Major Velocity today, though. I really do think that horse likely needed that start. He missed some time going to the new barn. He's got a better draw to work with. I'm hoping that he can sit 1-2 off the car, and I'm hoping that from a fitness standpoint, he's going to be better to turn the tables tonight.
Okay, well, let's look at the replay. You keep talking there because that's where I'm going too, but you're doing a good job. So let's go to the replay on Major Velocity, and you keep going with what you see here.
I'm just curious to see I'm curious to hear your thoughts, though, Randy, because I saw a little bit of a funky gate before the wire. Did you notice anything in that last eighth of the mile, though?
Just maybe a little bit different, but I think I looked at it more of the fact that a horse that needed to start and was getting a little bit tired right at the end of the mile. Okay, so let's take a look at that, though, John. So his last start was October the 10th. This November the 17th, and a ship from Indiana. So I think he needed this. I really do, and I think that's why Jody got the job done on him. Maybe Jody will anyway. I had this guy on top. I'm a big fan of this guy, but I do think that he needed this start big time, and I think he's going to be that much better coming in here tonight. And really, Louis was the only one moving forward on the end of it, and just went around get the green like he was tied to a fence post. You know what I mean? That's a good indication. I just think at that point, Jody was home, cool, gone. If this guy's able to land, close to him with James on him tonight, nice middle of the gate, has the 4-hole now. If he's able to land close to this guy, he might be able to turn the tables.
I think the fact that James is going to Major Velocity's direction, given that he's never driven him before, given the fact that he's been paired up with Get the Green and has driven him so many times, I mean, James got a front row seat to see Major Velocity going right by him. So the fact that James is going to go to this Jacques Dupont trainee who's going to be making a second start here in Ontario, I had to side with him as well. Again, like you mentioned, sometimes you got to let the drivers do the handicapping for you sometimes. But not only that, again, this horse is coming off a really sharp effort. So I went all in on him. He's one of my plays of the night as well. I felt comfortable singling him in a pick 5 sequence.
Well, there you have it. World driving champion there. Rollis is a fan of this horse because he gave you Windburn last week.
All right. We're going to move on here. We're going to skip over race number 10. That's a pretty deep field. We'll get to that later on.
Interesting race.
Very, very good race. Very, very tough race. I could make the case for several in there.
Yeah,
really can.
But I think you and I are going to make a good case for one.
Oh, big time. And we're going to look at some pick 5 ticket ideas, though, Randy, because, again, I mentioned some of these races are tricky. I think it makes some of these sequences very tricky as well. But no problems for you in the first 3 races, Randy. You're going to start things off with 3 consecutive singles. I like it.
Well, listen, I mean, either she's going to get there for me or she's not. And then if she's absolutely no good this week, then I can get away from her. You know what I mean? Simple as that. But I'm a believer in this girl, and I'm a believer in the barn that she comes out of. So Shampoo Girl, going to single her. Comma, I think I can't believe that she's 10-1. Now quickly on Comma, just so that for everybody out there, so I don't forget to tell you on her. Last week for Comma was his first start with trotting hobbles. So this will be second start trotting hobbles, just so that nobody kind of misses that. In race 3, I chose to single Wicked Express. I know he's coming in here with a little bit of a stale date, but in my opinion, the last time that we seen him, he was owning this class. He wasn't just winning it, he was owning it. So I'm going to go back to him, and then here we go in race number 4, I go 4 deep, using from 1 to 10, and in race number 5, in the Harvest Final, I'd love to sit there and say I'm just going to key YS Queen Beth or whatever, but I like, there's a couple of other, I like the horse that I got in for 3rd. I like the horse I got in for 2nd, who you got on top. So I'm going to go 4 deep there as well.
I like the coverage in the last couple of legs because those are some tough races to close things out. Look, if you can get through the first 3,
I'm looking good.
You look great, and you're looking at a pretty good return too. Not only that, so you're going to kick things off and hope that Shampoo Girl can kick off the festivities. I couldn't single Wicked Express because of the date, and also because I liked the way Connor B raced last time out. But I do agree with you. He's my top pick, Wicked Express. I think he's definitely the one to beat, worst date or not. I'm like you. I'm all in on Kama. We've seen this before with, or was it last night or a couple of days ago with another Chris Rogers trainee exiting a couple
days a week?
Exactly. He was exiting a couple of tries in some Harvest Series action. Wasn't really a factor. A little bit too tough for him. Drops down in a much better spot. Picks up James and gets the job done. Kama exiting a couple of Harvest Series tries was not much of a factor.
Second start
with trotting Hopples. Now picks up James McDonald. I'm hoping that trend can result in another trip to the winner's circle. So I'm going to go all in on him. Race 4, I spread. I mean, we're the same except for you use the rail starter. I use Road Promises. and I'm all in on TH Monica. That's going to be a little bit of my value single or separator. She's going to take support in there, but I think that some people might look to be spreading in there, and I can't blame them because it's such a tough leg, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's a really, really tough leg. So there's our pick 5 ticket thoughts or ticket ideas, and we're going to look at your pick 6 ticket as well. So interesting, though, because you're going to do things differently in the pick 6 versus the pick 5 in that second leg in the pick 6 in race number 5. So you are going to take a stand in the pick 6 sequence.
In this pick 6,
Okay.
simply because there's there's that one extra. It's amazing how if you go 2 instead of 1, how much your ticket just escalates. You know what I mean? So in this one, I'm going to go 4 deep again with the same four picks in race number 4. In race number 5, it's I am going to single YS Queen Beth. I'm going to take a chance in this one. I really do think that she's going to come up with a good one. In race 6, I'm going to single DA Super Glow. I mean, either this is going to pay off or it's not. Either way, it's not going to be a terribly expensive ticket. Race 8, I go race 7, singling Ellis Island. Race 8, I go 1-5 in there, Gucci and Woodmere Betcha, and then in race number 9, Major Velocity, and right here Hanover. The bend, the first, how it starts and how it ends, I got no problem. It's that middle part but it's either going to separate me or it's not.
Yeah, you don't. You must have gone all in plenty of times playing poker, eh?
Oh,
because you don't give yourself much wiggle room when you play some of these multis.
Yeah, I love the all in button, and I love the all in on poker.
Yeah.
You can completely take control if you say all in.
Were you a bluff guy? Did you bluff a lot?
Didn't have to.
Didn't have to.
Because I had all in.
Okay. Oh, that's true. That's a good call right there. But
It's amazing what you can put a guy to test when you say all in.
really,
You know?
you're right.
It's the truth. Well, even if you had ace king and there was an ace on the board, are you going to push? You going to put your whole stack in?
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid
Really?
to go all in. Yeah. My
Yeah.
dad, on the other hand, he's a little bit more conservative. He'll
I'd
sit.
be looking at a hidden 2 pairs or something.
He folds way more hands than he plays. I'll tell you
he's
that
tight.
much. He's very tight. For me, I'm willing to go all in, and I think that's what you have to do when you're playing wagering on horses, right? Because you have to try and take a stand against other people. It's a pari-mutuel pool, so take a stand, hope that you're right, and hope that you can get rewarded. And we're going to hope that we can get rewarded tonight as well. And let's look at some of our plays of the night, though, Randy, because I think if some of these hit, we'll be going home happy customers.
There you go. If mine hit, I'm going to go buy Polly a new cat.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
You've got a lot of potential home run balls here.
There you go. Race 1, starting it off. I told you, either she's going to make it or she's not. So Shampoo Girl is going to be my worth a look. My beat the fave, YS Queen Beth. 10-1 morning line. I'd be lucky to get 10-1 on her in that race, I think. All in Ellis Island. I mean, I think that I'm going to get way more than 10-1 is what I meant to say on the beat the favorite. All in on Ellis Island for Team Xeron, and Waples Watch is going to be Woodmere Betcha, and we showed you that replay.
I'm in agreement with you on Woodmere Betcha. She's going to be one of my plays this evening, but I'm going to go to a few others that I mentioned. All in on Kema in race number 2. Again, that second try trotting hopples, one that you were able to point out. Listen,
James.
sometimes you miss those little hopple changes.
Sometimes.
I mean, Ben's let me know about it plenty of times when I've missed him removing hopples or adding hopples. He's let me know about it quite a few times. So TH Monica, my best bet tonight in race number 5. Woodmere Betcha, as I mentioned, spot play. And turn the tables, Major Velocity. I played it a little bit safer than you. You're going for, like I said, you're going for some home runs, but if you get those across, you're going to get paid. Let's look at some other resident handicappers and their thoughts as well. Garnet Barnsdale going to Ivy Lynn as his spot play. She's currently the 6-5 favorite. Again, James Factor, I think, you could say she's an underlay, but the James Factor, I think, is part of the reason she's taken some support. Ellis Island.
She was always going to be the favorite, don't you think?
I thought so, too. Yeah, Ellis Island, maiden
nice.
breaker, so he's in agreement with you there, Randy Gislan, and Cadito. Going to be Kevin Plouch's spot play.
For the man of the hour.
That's it.
Hey, he was the only handicapper that took safe conduct last night.
No more knocking Kevin's thoughts because it backfired last night. I'm with you, Kevin. Cadito all the way. 2 minutes to go before we kick off this Monday night program, one that I think is pretty tricky. Good luck.